Hey, NFL fans, I want you to like this video if you want a 2021 mock draft. Our lead draft analyst, Tom Downey, he can't get enough of this stuff. We just finished our 2020 NFL draft coverage, which, thanks to you guys, we were number one on the internet, so greatly appreciate it. But he's chomping at the bit to do a 2021 mock draft already. So I made a deal with him. I said, okay, if I get 200 likes on this video, you can do a 2021 mock draft. So if that's what you want, go ahead and like this video. Without further ado, let's jump into today's NFL Daily. All right, let's get into the latest NFL news and rumors here on the show, starting with who else? Jadeveon Clowney. New development, John Clayton, who's covered the NFL for a long time. He now does his radio show out at ESPN 710 in Seattle, says that the Seahawks cutting a couple of guys in DJ Fluker and Justin Britt could clear enough cap space to reopen that door for the Seahawks to go after Jadeveon Clowney. Seattle's projected cap space after they pay their draft picks around $16 million. That might be enough to get it done at this point, despite the fact that Clowney was hoping to make north of $20 million in free agency. That ship has sailed. I do not see that happening from any team, much less the Seattle Seahawks. Quick little quote from Pete Carroll as well, saying, if there's an opportunity that makes sense, we will dive back in and pursue it. So they certainly haven't closed the door on bringing back Clowney. He did not play super well for them last year, only had the 3 sacks in Seattle. But after the past couple of weeks, it seemed like it was not going to happen with him returning to the Seahawks. Maybe there is a little bit left between the two parties that there could be a reunion, even if it is just on a 1-year deal. What do you guys think? Should Seattle re-sign Jadeveon Clowney? Type Y for yes or type N for no. I think they should. 1-year deal. You invested in him by trading a draft pick for him, although you didn't have to give up a first because, Bill O'Brien and the Houston Texans. But I do think they should try and bring him back at least for 1 more year. Like I mentioned, wasn't super productive last year, but he still got a lot of pressures, just didn't finish as much. He's never had a 10-sack season, which is hard to believe with how much hype he had coming out of South Carolina several years back. But he's still young. He's only 27. He's a good pass rusher. I think if Seattle can get him 16, 17 million on a 1-year deal, that makes a whole lot of sense to me, especially when you look at their defensive line. LJ Collier out of TCU last year did not play that well. He's probably better suited as an interior defensive line. Bruce Irvin's not getting any younger. Reed and Ford in the middle are okay, but if they lose Clowney, they do not have a ton of production coming off the edge there. So I think bringing him back for 1 more year, let Collier continue to develop, that makes a whole lot of sense. So we'll see what happens with Clowney. Speaking of other guys like Yannick Ngakoue, for example, send in your best NFL trade ideas. We were doing a couple of these videos before our NFL draft coverage. Want to do it again. Send in your best NFL trade ideas. If I get enough good ones, I will do a video on Thursday built around your trade proposals. And you can't just be like, oh, Yannick Ngakoue to Cincinnati. You got to be specific. Future draft picks. Do you want them for other players? Let me know. Send in your best trade proposals, and I will do a video on them coming up on Thursday. All right, this is an interesting one, probably the most intriguing story of the show today. Apparently that Jordan Love was in the Packers' eyesight before they even traded up during the draft for him. Not only did they trade up for him, they wanted to trade up sooner. They called their rivals in the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings, at pick number 22 and pick number 25, trying to orchestrate a trade to move up. They ended up settling with Miami at the 26th pick to trade up for Jordan Love. But Ian Rappaport says they were adamant about getting a quarterback in this draft. They were going to take one. It ends up being Jordan Love, which I find very fascinating because obviously this franchise did this with Aaron Rodgers 15 years ago when Brett Favre was getting a little bit older. Now, hopefully it works out for them. Hopefully Jordan Love comes in there and he's more like 2018 Jordan Love before he regressed last year with the new coaching staff, with only 2 starters returning on Utah State's offense. He just wasn't as good, but I am fascinated with this Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love development, considering how much the Packers apparently wanted to bring him on board. They went out of their way to trade up, and they wanted to trade up even earlier, but they did end up getting their guy with the number 26 overall pick. But all the storylines continue to be around Aaron Rodgers. That's what everyone wants to know. How long will he be the Packers quarterback? How many more years? 2, 3? He's got 4 years left in his deal. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. I mentioned he's got 4 years left on his deal. You kind of look at the dead cap breakdown over the next few years. He's going to be there at least 2 more years unless they traded him after next season or something like that, because they can't cut him after 2020, 31 million dead cap hit next year. But before 2022, you could cut him for just 17 million cap hit. He's even more tradable at that point. In 2023, certainly, you could cut him for basically no dead money there. So I think 3 is kind of the max. I would be surprised if Aaron Rodgers is this team's quarterback after 2022. I'm starting to think 2021 might be the last season for Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Well, we do know Jordan Love is going to be the Packers quarterback for the foreseeable future, so why not be the first one to get a Jordan Love jersey or any rookie jersey from your favorite NFL team? Go to this link, chatsports.com/NFL jerseys. Some of these players have chosen their numbers, like Joe Burrow. Jordan Love has not. Justin Herbert has. Here's the deal. As soon as they pick their number and the team officially announces it, Fanatics will know that information, and then they will send you a jersey immediately. So you can go ahead and pre-order it. Don't worry. As soon as the numbers become official, you can they will send it to you and you will get it within a couple of days. So go to chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Be the first one to get a CD Lamb jersey. How cool would that be? All right. 2021 NFL Draft details. Obviously, it is going to be in Cleveland. We already knew that. It'll take place about a week later this year, April 29th to May 1st, I should say next year, obviously. The event will be at First Energy Stadium and around the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame there in downtown Cleveland. So should be an interesting setup. I'm not going to spin it and pretend that Cleveland's going to be as cool as Vegas would have been this year. But, hey, the NFL Draft's going back to Vegas in 2022, so we can't be super mad. All in all, the draft did work out this year. And, hey, it worked out well for us here at Chat Sports because we had over 2 million viewers over the 3 days, thanks to you guys. So next 3 years, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Kansas City. We don't know after that, but that's where the draft is heading the next 3 years, including Cleveland in 2021. As far as who might be the top guys next year, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Penei Sewell, the offensive tackle out of Oregon, Jamar Chase, the LSU wide receiver, who's even better than Justin Jefferson, and then Gregory Rousseau. This is kind of my very, very early top 5 guys. Obviously, Tom Downey digs deeper into the draft stuff, but expect these guys to go early in next year's draft. Who do you guys think will be the number 1 pick in 2021? I'm putting it down between the 2 quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, the Clemson quarterback, and the Ohio State quarterback, type L for Lawrence, type F for Fields. I'd be shocked if both these guys did not come out after this upcoming college football season, assuming it does get played. If they do, let me know who you guys think will be the number 1 pick in 2021. Type L for Lawrence, type F for Fields. And hey, remember, like this video for a 2021 mock draft. And hey, Tom Downey, he might let you know where he has the number 1 pick being in next year's draft. So continue to get those votes in. Type L for Lawrence, type F for Fields, and remember to like today's video. All right, some quick NFL news. We'll go a little rapid fire here. Dustin Colquitt, the longtime Chiefs punter, he is a free agent after Kansas City is releasing him after 15 seasons. He's meant a lot to that organization. You know, most punters don't necessarily get a lot of airtime here, but he's been there a decade and a half. Andy Reid called him one of the greatest Chiefs of all time. This will save them $2 million against the cap. He's an older punter. I thought this was a possibility, so that does end up happening in the end. They are moving on. We'll see if he lands somewhere in 2020. Rashard Higgins is getting re-signed by the Cleveland Browns. There was some chatter he might end up somewhere else. Actually, it took a little less money to stay in Cleveland, according to Browns reporter Jake Trotter, so that is interesting. There is opportunity at that number 3 wide receiver spot, which is something that Trotter mentioned after Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, so we'll see if Higgins can land that spot. I've got him penciled in as my wide receiver 3 in Cleveland right now. Obviously, they drafted Donovan Peoples-Jones, who will compete for repetitions there as well. It's kind of quieted down, but do you think the Browns will trade Odell Beckham? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. I think at this point it's very low. I do think they'll bring back the gang in 2020. They've added a lot in free agency, a lot in the draft. I think Cleveland will see how it goes next season and then maybe revisit this in 2021. Last piece here, the Chicago Bears bring back a former player in John Jenkins, the defensive tackle. He's bounced around a little bit, played with the Bears in 2017. Just kind of a rotation defensive tackle type, big boy, 6'3", 327 pounds. good run stopper on run down, 7-year vet. He's been around for quite a bit. Last year had a sack, couple of tackles for loss, 34 tackles as a rotation piece with the Miami Dolphins. So we will see what his role ends up being with the Bears. They needed a backup nose tackle on that defense, so they add one, a player they are familiar with in John Jenkins.